But if you think about it, if you're a billionaire, and you lose like what, $50 million, like you're like, whatever. So maybe that's how they look at it. They're like, oh yeah, give this guy $20 million. He didn't make it up. Oh well.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with us today on this Wind Up Wednesday episode, Captain for Life, Will Cotton. Will, how are you, sir? Hope all is well with you.
All is great. The heat wave is over. Now life is back to normal here in Maryland.
Also joining us, our favorite administrator. Happy he's able to join us today, Robert Abney. Robert, thank you for joining us on this Wind Up Wednesday draft recap episode. How are you, sir?
As always, sir, I'm living the dream. Texas is moving out of its preheating stage. The oven is on, let me tell you.
Sorry, fans, that's even funnier than it should be. In segment one, we're going to recap the Eastern Conference teams in the NBA draft. Segment two, we'll do the Western Conference. And segment three, WNBA news and notes. And a little Coach Adams is going to come out. But first, let us recap the NBA draft in terms of the Eastern Conference. Now, fans, when this comes out on Wednesday, a lot of the free agent moves will start to take place. And we'll talk a little bit about speculation, but we're really focused on the draft. Boston. This team is so deep, it's hard to imagine any rookie producing early. So unless there's anybody want to talk about them, let them talk about with the defending champions, because these cats ain't going to play anyway. They pick 30th and 54. So we're going to move on from Boston. Now we will talk about the Knicks, though. Okay. So the Knicks have gone all in trading for Mikal Bridges, and there's a lot of Villanova players. Okay. So they had 4 draft picks. Will, are the Knicks top 2? Can they unseat Boston? You saw the moves that they made. What do you think about the Knicks, man?
Still a distant second. They still don't have a guy named Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. Both those guys, I mean, all NBA every time. I mean, the Knicks have, Brunson, but that's about it. They need another guy. The best thing is they have a lot of cannon fodder for the practice, because Thibodeau has the worst practices that everyone has to always do stuff and defensive slides and stuff. So they have cannon fodder, and hopefully they can use those guys and save the real players during the season and the playoffs, because as we saw, everybody broke down. So that's pretty much my thoughts about that.
Robert, we'll pause on the Knicks. Did they do enough, in your opinion, to unseat the Celtics, or we're just going to talk about Villanova all season and grinding and so forth?
No, I think they had to do a lot more, and they're not going to get there. I don't see anybody getting better than Boston next year. I think the only way Boston winds up not winning the East next year is lack of interest.
Okay. All right. The Milwaukee Bucks. Neither one of their picks, which were pick 23 and 33, are ready to complete for playing time, and they're both developmental projects, so we're going to move on from there. I will stop with the Cavs. Jalen Tyson, forward from Cal. He's a plug-and-play two-way wing. And he can step into the rotation immediately. So I think Cleveland picked up somebody that can help them. We will go to the Magic. They picked at 18 Tristan da Silva, forward from Colorado. He's a flashy pick. They got a guy that can come in. Orlando was getting better. Will, do you like this move to get a guy that actually can come in and play in the rotation?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, hitting on draft picks are going to be big for Orlando, because they don't really got a lot of free agents that come in here, or a lot of talent, period. So if they can hit on a kid that can play right now and get in the rotations, that's even better for them. So congratulations on the management side.
All right. So, Robert, I'm going to stop with you with Indiana. They had the 35th, 49th, and 50th pick. They played at a fast pace, and they teased everybody and got to the finals and then got smoked. Do you like any of their picks? And did they do enough to get into the regular conversation every week we're going to have about the top 5 or 6 teams in the East?
I mean, it's hard to tell. The kid they drafted from Kansas is a pretty good shooter, but he played 1 year, so he's young, so he's gonna develop for a while. Tristan Newton from UConn, I mean, obviously he knows how to win, but he wasn't one of the key members of that team. I mean, he's an older guy, so that's good. I mean, the getting some maturity coming out of college, that's a good thing for them. I don't think they really did enough though. I again, not quite to the level of the Mavericks. I think the Pacers kind of caught lightning in a bottle and rolled with it. I don't know if they did enough to get there.
All right. So with the Sixers, no one cares about anything unless they get Paul George. So good luck getting Paul George because these guys aren't going to help you. The Miami Heat, um, they got to deal with Jimmy Butler and figure out what they're going to do with with him. So again, good luck with the picks that they had. But until you figure out what you're going to do with Jimmy Butler, no need to have a conversation. Chicago Bulls are bad. Okay, they drafted a hometown kid with their pick, but they're bad, so they're going to keep being bad. Fellas, what is the Atlanta Hawks doing? I have no idea what they're doing. Will, what are the Hawks doing?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think they know. I think they're just throwing darts on a board and trying to hit something, and hopefully it lands or it gives them the win for the dart game. I don't know. So I don't know what to do.
They had the #1 pick, Robert, and we're still talking about is Trae Young going to be on the team after by the time this show comes on? What are they doing, Robert? What do you think?
It didn't help. It didn't help the Hawks that there was no consensus #1, like one guy that everybody's like last year with Victor Wembanyama. There was none of that. There was no guy. So I mean, I'm assuming they're taking the guy that they think is the best player for them. Is he the best player in the draft? I don't know. I will say this: if they wanted somebody who was ready to play right away, I mean, he's going to play right away because they don't really have a choice. But from a maturity standpoint, they could have drafted somebody older, I guess. Would he have been a better player? No idea. But isn't that kind of the way this whole draft was, though?
Even Alex Sarr didn't even want to go there.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to go to Atlanta? I know somebody. He said, let me go to the Wizards instead of the Hawks. Ain't that something? All right. Too much time on the Atlanta Hawks. The Nets didn't even have a pick. They would have messed it up anyway. So let's go to the Charlotte Hornets. They picked a bunch of developmental guys. They're just bad. And I don't see them getting any better. So good luck. Toronto. Jacoby Walter is a good 3-and-D wing. They also picked up Jonathan Magobo from San Francisco, who's a friend of Scotty Barnes. That always helps to play with your friends. AAU mentality, but I got no problem with that. But I want to spend more time talking about the Wizards. So the Wizards got a ball player in Alex Sarr, and they got an old head that they can use in the trade at the trade deadline to get more assets. They're not going to be any good. So now they're just trying to get what I like to say is a starting 5. So please get rid of all of the older guys and keep getting young. Cotton Man, what do you think about what the Wizards did, sir?
I liked it, man. I think they got rid of Denny, and I don't know why. And everyone was like, I can't believe they got rid of Denny. I'm like, I can see why they get rid of that guy. But no, I mean, they're a bad team. And, as long as we understand that it's going to be a long road, just make your pieces, do what you got to do, develop your players, make some, trades. The idea of going from, the basement to the penthouse is it's stupid to think of that, you know. You've never been that as the Wizards. So their job is to just say, okay, let's build sustainable foundation and move forward, moving up. I think Koulibaly was a great pickup last year. He was a little better than most people thought he was. Alex Sarr, I think he was the better of the one or two between him and Richard. But I think, you know, things will start to pick up. Again, it'll be another rough year. I hope it's a rough year, and maybe they can get the Cooper flag and get in that, you know, in that lottery. But yeah, I doubt it. But you know, just keep building, and it's going to be a road, but it'll be fun for the fans. And when it gets where it needs to be, it'll be so much it'll be such fulfilled. So yeah, for sure.
Okay, Robert, we're going to close with the Pistons. One, going back to the Hawks, what are they doing? Who eats $65 million in the NBA and not have it be a bad player? They're eating $65 million or whatever the amount is on a coach.
It had to be personal.
What?
It had to be personal. It had to be. He said something, and you got.
You're our favorite administrator. What are the Pistons doing, sir?
Burning money. I have, you know, and you keep saying that about some of these teams. What are they doing? One would think with that much money involved that you would have a plan that actually is fairly easy to figure out, but no, I got nothing, man.
I got nothing. But
if you think about it, if you're a billionaire, you know, and you lose like what, $50 million, like you're like, whatever. So maybe that's how they look at it. They're like, oh yeah, give this guy $20 million. He didn't make it up. Oh well.
Yeah, but
give it to him and get him out of here.
Do you get to be a billionaire treating your money that way though?
I guess when you get to a billionaire, you start to think like that. But like on the way, okay. it's like, you know, different.
All right. So fans, when we come back in segment 2, we're going to talk about the Western Conference. And yes, begrudgingly, we're going to talk about the 55th pick in the NBA draft. We'll be right back on the iCoaches Podcast.
The CKA SAVE Project is an industry leader in advocating for student-athlete, academic, and athletic needs. Through academic and athletic enrichment, the CKA SAVE Project is on the forefront of the issues facing 21st century student-athletes. As student-athletes continue to struggle to find a better balance between academic and athletic success, the CKA SAVE Project offers academic and athletic services to support student-athlete academic success, including academic skills assessment, academic and athletic consulting, academic monitoring, academic and athletic workshops. For more information or to schedule a free consultation, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 2, Western Conference NBA Draft Recap. We're going to start with OKC. They're finally using some of these assets. They did pick up a top 5 player, and I love that they got Nikola Topic because he's not even going to be in this year because of an ACL injury, and they don't need him yet, so they can get him fully healthy and at full strength. This guy's going to be a ball player. So I like what OKC's doing. They're definitely going to be in the mix. Denver, they picked up Deron Holmes II from Dayton via the Phoenix Suns. He was one of the best mid-major players. Robert, did Denver do anything to improve them with this pick?
I don't know if they did enough. I think he's a good pick. I saw him play a couple times. He's a good player. But they need to get younger, and I'm not sure that this is enough to do that.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to have you go to Minnesota. It is very rare that 0.5 pops on something with the NBA, but he liked to pick Rob Dillingham from Kentucky. Dillingham was worth the 8th pick in a weak draft. He's going to upgrade the backcourt. They also got Terrence Shannon from Illinois, and I saw him play a lot, obviously, with the Big Ten. Did Minnesota do enough to get over?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you know, if you keep hitting on young talent, you're going to do better. I think Minnesota has a good eye of where they want to go, which is always good as an organization, and luck, which they also need as well, because Dillingham wasn't supposed to fall at least to what I think 8, so he was supposed to go at least 7 or 6 before that. So that could change the course of the NBA universe. Who knows? I think that's always fun to think about it. But Minnesota knows where they're going. They have their vision, and they hit on some luck. So great move on them. Great picks.
Okay.
It'll be interesting to see with Dillingham. I watched. I mean, you watch a lot of basketball, and he disappears for long stretches of time.
Oh yeah.
For somebody that good, he just completely disappears. And I'm not saying scoring. I'm saying everything. He just disappears.
I didn't know you were out there, and I'm supposed to know you're out there. I know
you should know. You should know the guy who's the 8th pick in the NBA draft. You should know that guy's on the floor. You know,
I hope the NBA definitely turns that switch on for him. There is no off. There is no just playing around coasting, because you get dunked on, you get embarrassed, and that's millions of dollars too. So I'm hoping that if they can mature him, let's call it maturity. They can mature that mentality of his basketball and mentality, and that'll could take him to the next level. Hopefully.
All right. The Clippers are moving into a new arena, and they have no idea who's going to be on their roster.
How?
Do the Paul George thing? Do we? I don't know what the Clippers are doing.
I've never seen such a bum bench franchise get a new stadium. I've never they suck. How'd they get a stadium? You have to win
because
something.
They didn't want to play in the Staples or whatever crypto. They have to have their own identity. I don't know what the Clippers are doing. So we're going to go to Dallas. They had the 51st pick, and of course, they picked somebody from France. Hey, young players, you're seeing this, but I'll digress till later. Robert, you're in Texas, and that's the only reason why we're asking. Did Dallas do anything to make you pause, or they'll compete for a playoff spot and early round knockout, and there you go?
Yeah, I think that they're definitely going to regress. And I mean, you draft a guy from France. I mean, I would love to say, oh yeah, I saw him play in the Euro League and this and that and the other. Never heard of him. So,
all right. So we're going to go to Phoenix. Sorry, I don't particularly care who they picked. What are you going to do with KD and the big 3 that aren't 3? It's a big 2.5. Okay, you got Bradley Beal, who's the half. You got Booker, KD. So that's what you need to talk about with Phoenix, not the 28th and the 40th draft pick. Which takes us, fellas, to the Los Angeles Lakers. Real talk. Dalton Connect is a great fit because he at best is going to be your third scorer, because you're going to guard LeBron, you're going to guard AD, and when you kick it, you're going to knock down shots. Okay. So that's a good pickup. He's ready to go play right now. LeBron opted out of his deal, so you could play around and get another old head like a Klay Thompson or something like that. That's great, but that's not what people want to talk about. They want to talk about the 55th pick and Bronny James. So, Will, I'll let you have the first go at it. What do you think about the 55th draft pick, Bronny James? Your thoughts, sir?
From a basketball perspective, obviously we knew why the Lakers chose him. I'm not going to get too deep into him. He has talent, and the Lakers took him because obviously their father is LeBron James, and he's going to re-sign with the Lakers. But I do want to say there are a lot of grown men out there who are hating on him. But I just got to say that is an amazing feat that I know sportsmen would love to see happen to them. I wish I could play in the NBA, and then my son could play with me in the NBA. And growing as I became a father, man, that's fantastic. It's fantastic. I can't understand people are hating on it or why it got happened, but whatever it is, man, that's still fantastic. Congratulations to the James family. I don't think I don't know if it'll ever happen again. But it's people are hating on something, and I think it's really it's an opportunity to really say, man, that's pretty cool. As a man who has whose kids, I wish they follow in my footsteps. I thought it was pretty cool. Again, basketball, I don't think that was the right choice. Um, I think that if he stayed in college, he could have developed and became an NBA player that's really respectively going to be taken and not just off his father's name. But it is what it is. Move forward. Happy for the family. It's a dream for most people. So congratulations to them. That's really what it is.
Robert, you're our favorite administrator and you've worked in education a long time. I don't want to hear one daggum thing about nepotism, but I will let you have the floor before I cut my promo. What do you think about the 55th pick in the NBA draft?
I mean, Will said it. It's a great story. It really is. And we should all be so lucky as to be able to be in a position to work with our children in such a way, right? Not that everybody would want to, but I mean, that's a cool story. And you can say whatever you want about LeBron, but it takes something to stay around as long as he has. And I mean, his kid, Bronny's talented. I just, from a basketball perspective, I don't get it because he's 6'1", and who's he going to guard? And, because in the NBA, if you're 6'1", you better be exceptional. And he definitely hasn't shown as exceptional. But you know what? It's a great story. I don't blame him for doing it. Let's play it out as long as you can. And it wouldn't shock me one bit if, LeBron plays this one season, maybe two, retires, and then maybe Bronny develops, then we'll find out what kind of player he is, right? Because then there won't be dad around. Then we'll find out. But it's a great story, and I agree with Will. You can't hold it against him for that. I mean, come on.
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this all week and how I'd like to address this, and I've had conversations with my own son. And anyone who knows me, Will played for me, knows I'm a daddy's boy. My dad sat behind the bench. All right, I love my daddy, and when I was coaching and teaching and dissertating, there was one moment. KJ was like 5, and Robert knows the story where he came to me at the dining room table and said, "Daddy, when can you play with me? Because I'm doing all of these things." And it was at that moment where I said, as soon as I'm done with this doctoral thing, I'm going to be at every blasted thing I can be at. So I love being a chauffeur. I'm at workouts. I'm this, but I'm the dad at the workout that's just watching the workout. I don't care about play calling. I don't care about minutes. I don't care about anything. I just care about being around my son. So fast forward, if I ever had the ability to play professional and my son had marginal enough talent to be with me, we're going to move heaven and earth to do it. And wait, did Jeannie Buss climb the ladder of success to become in charge of the Lakers? No. I saw David Flair wrestle. Bruno Sammartino Jr., David Sammartino wasn't no dadgum good. Okay. So I have seen all of this, and we won't even get into education. Okay. We won't even get into the unqualified people running school systems and districts across the country. So kudos to the LeBron James and his family, because if the only crime you've ever done is leaving Cleveland for Miami, you are forgiven, because I've been to Miami and I haven't been to Cleveland for a reason. So anyway, I'm going to move on to New Orleans, because that was some ridiculousness all week, with people talking about somebody helping somebody. Robert and I have been in the help business for 30 years. We're in public education. And yes, we're going to try to help you get the job. Yes, we're going to try to help, because that's what we do. And you're really going to help your own child. So, all right, New Orleans. They had the 21st and 47th pick. Zion, get healthy. There you go. There's the New Orleans Pelicans wrap up. The Sacramento Kings had the 13th pick. Pick Devin Carter from Providence. Good player. Should be able to get into the rotation, but that's about it. Sacramento is going to be down because the West is so good. So we're going to pause with the Golden State Warriors. Robert, what are they doing, man? Should you try to get Paul George and make one more run? You're trying to help Clay, but you're not trying to help Clay. It's over and it rarely ends well, but am I just being too hard?
No, I think they're still trying to figure out a way to, have another reunion tour. I mean, I don't know what else. I don't know that's the only possible explanation, because you would think they'd have a better plan. I mean, you're drafting in the second round anyway, so anybody you take likely is going to be a project. Um, I mean, I guess Quentin Post can help them. I have no idea, but yeah, that it doesn't look like they have figured out quite yet what they really want to do.
All right. Will, I'm going to go to you first because this is a sneaky good pick. First of all, the Houston Rockets played really, really well the last part of the season because Ime Udoka can coach. Now they got Reed Shepherd. He was the best freshman in college basketball last year. What do you think about this move, sir?
Always making moves at Houston, man. They're always going to surprise everybody. It's just the marathon. They were playing pretty well in the beginning. Then they fell off most of the year, and then towards the end, their players started playing a lot better. I believe I forgot his name. Is it Kevin Porter Jr. started playing a little better, and then there was another player that went in the draft last year. He was like a sophomore. Everyone started playing better towards the end. So they know they have talent. They just have to work on sustain their consistency through the season, and they'll be right there. I mean, to be honest with you, I think they're good enough to be a playing team this year. But we'll see what happens. But I think they're good enough to be in there.
Robert, you're in Texas. What are they talking about the Rockets at least?
Not here. I would imagine, and I don't know as I like that pick as much as other people do. I think he's okay. He's going to be the point guard of the future. My question with him, as with so many other players, is who's he going to guard? Because in the NBA, you have to guard people. And I just don't know who he's going to guard.
All right. For Utah picked up 3 quality players. I'm not going to get into the internet about the last player that they picked, but they got 3 quality basketball players that I think will make their team and help their team. But again, we're talking about a team that's going to be playing for 7 through 10, so we won't spend too much time on them, which takes us to Memphis. During the group chat, and fans, we do have a group chat, this was like the least talked about thing, and then it happened, and I believe I put in the group chat, did Edie just get picked? So Memphis picked for fit, and he does fit what they're trying to do. I don't know if I would have done it at 9, but yeah, Ja's coming back, and Zach Edey and Ja Morant in a pick and roll, that's going to be a problem. And as long as you're playing Zach 20 to 30 minutes a game, you have to account for a monster who can finish around the basket and doesn't foul a lot. So I think that was a pretty good pick. But I'm going to take it to Robert in San Antonio, where they will talk about the Spurs. What do you think about the Spurs draft, man? Stephon Castle from UConn. Do they like him?
Well, I called that, remember? I think I talked about that last week, that that would be a good fit for them. I will say that I can guarantee you that they are not shutting down the Riverwalk to introduce Stephon Castle like they did last year when they drafted Wemby. That they're not doing that. I mean, I will say I'm surprised they only drafted 1 European. I'm a little bit disappointed. They usually go in a little heavier than that. But no, these are it feels like these are 3 guys who can help them now, which is good. That's what they need. So I think they're going to be better. I don't know if they're playoff better, but they're going to be better.
Okay. And Portland's bad. They had 1 pick. He's a decent player, but they got nothing. Scoot and somebody else. What do you think about the Blazers, man?
I mean, they're still trying to reeling back from Dame. he set them back maybe like 2, 3 seasons, and they're still trying to get their footing. So until they hit on a player, or they're able to bring in a player, or they can sign an undrafted player and give them a lot of money and say, we believe you're going to be the guy, they're going to be in the bottom of the barrel for the West. And it's just unfortunate when you live and have these big contracts and big superstars, and this is the ugly part when they leave town.
All right, so fans, in segment 3, WNBA Week in Review, and also Coach Adams got a couple of things he wants to talk about with a certain player in Indiana. We'll be right back on the Eye Coaches podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student-athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Folarin Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams, just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Eye Coaches podcast. Segment 3, WNBA Week in Review, Power Rankings. New York 1, Connecticut 2, Minnesota 3, and congratulations for winning the in-season tournament. Seattle 4, Las Vegas 5, just in town, struggling a little bit. Phoenix 6, Atlanta 7, Chicago 8, Indiana 9, Dallas 10, Los Angeles Sparks are 11, and the Mystics are 12, but they're actually playing better. Who's hot? New York, Connecticut, Minnesota, and Minnesota and Seattle. Who's not? Dallas and the Sparks. Again, congrats to the Lynx for winning the Commissioner's Cup. But let's go to the story of the week. Captain Obvious. The Indiana Fever's guard, Caitlin Clark, is leading all NBA rookies in scoring at 16 points a game and 6.5 assists a game. And it should be 10 assists, but they can't catch a pass. Okay. But after a game last week against Seattle, Fever coach Christy Sides said she wants Clark to shoot the ball even more. Although Caitlin Clark is getting shots up, she is just not getting enough shots up. She's second on her team in shots. So before I go on a rant, Robert, you had an eloquent short clip last week that was so honest. What do you think about their coach saying Caitlin Clark needs more shots?
Isn't she in charge of that? If your best player needs more shots, run some plays to give her more shots. Now, I am not a offensive guru by any stretch of the imagination, but it seems like they should be able to figure out, okay, run a horn set, high screen, go away, bring her back off a set of staggered screens. What are we doing? What are we doing? It's not that hard. Give her the ball, find a way to get her the ball in space so she can get, because if she has space, she's going to hit shots, right? I think she's established that. I don't know. What do you think, Will? I know you got.
Yes. So, Will, you actually brought up a horn set, Robert. Will played with a guy that everyone knew was going to get shots, and we still got him shots. So when you read this, Will, what comes to your mind?
I remember a story that you had. We were in practice once, Coach. It was funny. We were running a play, and the play was run into one player, and then he's supposed to pass it to Fowlerin, and Fowlerin's supposed to shoot it. Now we ran through the play. The player was wide open. He took the shot. Young Adams stopped the practice. Stop, everybody. Said, look, I would rather have Fowlerin shooting on two people than you shooting wide open. Get the ball to Fowlerin. So yeah, get the ball to Caitlin Clark. I don't need nobody else. I don't care if you're wide open. I don't care if you're under the rim. I don't care to get her the ball, let her shoot, because none of the rest of y'all ain't gonna be here. So next year.
And
So,
if I'm not mistaken, sir, I said there's a reason why you're open. There's an absolute 100% reason why you're open, because you can't shoot. So
exactly, it was great,
folks.
But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of coaching two particular players, Jamal Wise, who was a post player, and when you have a dominant post, you've got to slow everything down so he can get a touch. And I had a chance to coach a guard that we wanted to play fast. In 8-minute quarters, Will can attest, we're scoring 70, 80, 90 points in a high school game.
And 100.
Because we're trying to, we're trying to play fast. So you've got Aaliyah Boston and you've got Caitlin Clark. So there are going to be times where you want to play slow, and there's going to be times that you want to play fast. But at all times, you want to make sure that Caitlin can get shots. So free advice. Implement a sideline break and see if you can get early offense to Caitlin in transition. And then if you can't get ball to Caitlin in early transition, get that Boston girl a touch in the post, play in and out, and do some late clock stuff. But you've got to get her the ball, and nobody should have to tell you that she needs to get more shots. So with that, Summer League basketball is coming up. So we got NBA Summer League starting sometime in the next week or two. We've got the WNBA All-Star Weekend coming up in July. We got the Summer Olympics starting at the end of July. Will, what part of summer basketball are you looking forward to the most? The NBA Summer League, the WNBA All-Star festivities, or the Summer Olympics? What say you, sir?
I always like the Olympics, and I always like the summer leagues, but I'm going to check out the WNBA All-Star Weekend. It's going to be very, very, I think, low-key and very competitive, because these girls will be chomping at the bit because they're tired of hearing that Caitlin Clark. So it's going to be very, very interesting, and they're going to bring their A1. So I'm definitely going to take a look at the WNBA All-Star Weekend this year for sure. Maybe drop a little things on there, you know what I'm saying? Strictly entertainment, but, going to be a good weekend for them.
All right, Robert, out of the three, NBA Summer League, WNBA All-Star festivities, or Summer Olympics, summer basketball in July, what's on your mind? Which one do you want to watch the most?
I hate All-Star games. Anymore, there is no redeeming quality to them whatsoever. And maybe this one will be a little more competitive, given because it's the Olympic team against the WNBA team. Is that right? I can't remember.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out before then.
Yeah, but I mean, there will be some good Olympic basketball. I like watching Summer League. I watch Summer League. My wife comes in and she's like, what are you watching? Why are you watching a scrimmage?
Yeah.
And that's basically what it is, because let's be honest, how many of those guys are going to be on a roster? Not many.
I'm like you, Robert, and I've actually put this out to the team. Next summer in the 2025 NBA draft, it's supposed to be hot. Odd coaches at Circa next year to watch NBA Summer League basketball. Out of all of it, I got Summer League first just because I like it. I got the Olympics second because I become Coach Adams, and they run a lot of great sets in Europe. And then, outside of three-point contests, I kind of don't like all-star games either. But anyway, with that, as we close, CKA Save Projects experiencing a lot of growth. We've got a refresh website at www.cksaveproject.org. One-stop shopping for all things CKA, including the Odd Coaches podcast. You'll see information, clips, and hopefully headshots in the next couple of weeks of our team. You'll hear about our academic and athletic consultant, our academic skills assessments, our academic monitoring, as well as information about grants, scholarships, as well as the formation of our postgraduate basketball academy. In addition, this week we're selling popcorn. Look for us on social media, click the link, get some of that double good popcorn, help us out. So on behalf of our cavalcade of stars, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, and we'll see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.cksaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@cksaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.cksaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.